Hey guys, Rich from Richmond Gaming, joined again once by Quinn. Quinn, how you doing?
I'm all right. I'm still like the pretty much the second host of this channel, but yeah, I'm good.
He has been roped into quite a few of late. A little bit later than usual. You guys know I like to get these out straight away, but I was away this week with the kids. We went to Alton Towers, which is a theme park here in the UK. Had a fantastic time, but it did mean that I missed the announcement of the HUD and one or two other things that we'll do probably on Sunday in a catch-up video. But I like to do the separate videos for each of the characters that are released. And we get two minis in this pack, don't we, Quinn?
Well, we get three minis if you count Brother Voodoo, but yeah.
Oh, actually, yeah, three minis. Yeah, I did forget about that one. Yeah. So, guys, this is the HUD early thoughts. So let's jump straight over, take a look at the panel to play, and then more importantly, go down and take a look at his card. HUD panel to play. We've got some nice artwork as per usual. It's on the wrong side of the card according to one person. For anyone that doesn't know, Parker Robbins is this guy's normal name, petty criminal. Just with his background from the comics and everything else, Quinn, we'd be surprised if he wasn't in the criminal syndicate. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think also maybe he's been confirmed on the stream. Don't quote me on that. I don't
Okay.
watch the streams. I just get told various things about the streams.
Yeah, I know some people were thinking he could be, he could have been the second leader of the
I
criminal
think a lot
syndicate
of
as well.
people were expecting that, and like honestly, I think now that we know that Hood isn't, who the hell is going to be the second leader of Criminal Syndicate? Are they going to get one? Do they need
Electra,
one?
potentially,
Maybe.
because she
Equally,
was
like,
she was on the latest card from Dormammu, wasn't she?
yeah, she was. Also, she was on PSD,
Yes.
so she's
Yeah.
been out there for a while. Yeah, I guess you could have that. Have her leadership be called like the Hand or something.
Yeah. Or like the
Yeah,
takeover, or yeah, something along those lines. So yeah, backstory we won't go through, but basically, it's the cloak that gives him the power from Dormammu, hence why he's so linked to him. But let's go down and take a look at his cards because that's the bit that we are interested in. So HUD. Now, if you notice this, we've got two cards here, normal, and you'll see why in a moment. But we've got HUD normal, Parker Robbins. So he's a threat 3. He is a 5 stamina, medium move, size 2, and then 2, 2, 3. And Quinn, we spoke about this beforehand. Those defenses for a 3 threat character, we typically expect 3s across the board. Sometimes a 4 thrown in there for good measure. Sometimes 6 stamina. They seem pretty poor.
yeah, that they're not great, and I think like he has a superpower to help with that later on, but I'm not sure to what degree it actually helps.
No, I agree. I agree. Let's move on to his builder then, Hex Shot. Now, I am a fan of this. This is a range 3, strength 4, 0 cost, and it is a, after this attack is resolved, the character gains 1 power, so irrespective whether you do damage or not, but it has the rapid fire ability on a hit. So after this attack is resolved, this character may make 1 additional Hex Shot attack. The additional attack must target the original target character. The additional attack does not have the rapid fire special rule, meaning you can't trigger it once after the other. I really like this. I think 4 strength rapid fire builders are very good anyway. I would have preferred to see it without the hit to trigger,
Yeah,
but I
it's a
still
bit
think it's
strange
pretty
that
good.
because he's not a mutant, and that seems to be a mutant exclusive thing. Because as everyone knows, AMG is racist to mutants.
Not quite sure if they are, but yeah.
I mean, up until this point, it tracked because only Mystique and Domino had that hit requirement on their rapid
Yeah,
fire.
they did, didn't they? Yeah, because Sin needs it, I think, does she? I
I don't
feel
know.
like
Maybe,
Sin,
maybe she is a secret mutant. I'm just
maybe,
saying.
maybe, yeah. But overall, I like this. I think, 4 dice, the likelihood is you're going to get a hit, right? You've more chance of getting a hit, I believe. There's
Yeah.
2 hits on the die, yeah?
Yeah,
I'm
two
right in
hits on the
saying
die,
that,
so
yeah.
you've got 25% chance on each die. Someone else can do maths like that because I'm
Go
not
see,
going to.
go see Xavier Protocols.
Yeah,
There's the maths. But yeah, so you're more than likely going to get it. So you're gonna, you've got a chance of generating 2 power, which is nice. But that hex shot is, I think really, really nice. His spender then, Dark Lightning. So range 3, 6 strength, 3 cost. And then on a wild, it triggers Arc, which is after this attack is resolved, choose a number of other enemy targets within range 3 of the target, equal to or less than the number of wilds in the attack roll. The chosen character suffers 1 damage. So basically, for every wild you roll, you can choose one character within range 3 who will just suffer 1 damage, which is quite nice. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's like a worse version of explosive.
Yes. Yeah, because explosive is usually just triggered on 1 wild, isn't it? Whereas this requires you to trigger multiple. And then it says, after this attack is resolved, the target character gains the shock special condition. Dishing out shock is never bad. I think, we spoke about this on our 5-threat tier list video the other day, didn't we? When you look at some of those big hitters in that S tier, taking a dice away from those guys, I don't think is ever a bad thing. And it's guaranteed, so it doesn't need a trigger either.
I mean, honestly, with it being themed around being, a lightning bolt, I would be shocked if it didn't do it.
He is here all the time, ladies and gentlemen. There you
go. You can't get rid of me.
So let's have a look at his superpowers then, of which he has 3. So his first superpower then, Black Art, is costing 3 power. And it says choose another allied character within range 3 of this character. The chosen character may remove up to 3 damage. If it does, the chosen character gains the bleed special condition. A character may be affected by this superpower only once per round. So break that down a second. Anyone within range 3, spend 3 power. Doesn't matter how much damage you take off. It's not a power per damage or anything like that. Spend 3 power, take away 3 damage, but they gain bleed. And it can be done to any number of characters per round, but only once per round to each character. I like this Quinn a lot. Obviously, this guy has been, paired with Dormammu to some extent, and I think this is probably the reason why, because Dormammu has that immunity to bleed.
Yeah. I mean, one of my favourite characters in the game, and Marvel in general, is your boy, Dr. Stephen Strange, and this is Oshta's refuge on a character that is 2 to 3 threat cheaper, but has a slight downside, and yeah, I'm here for it.
Yeah, and I think in combination then with this, and I can't remember the name of it on Baron Mordo's card, but this and that is really giving you kind of everything you need extra on Dormammu that to sort of keep him around a hell of a lot longer, potentially.
Oh, do you mean Frosty and Citarac?
That is the one I meant, yes. So yeah, overall, I really like that. I think it's very, very solid. Like you say, one of the reasons I take Doctor Strange with Dormammu when we've been playing, or one of the big reasons, is that defense dice. Sorry, not his defense dice. His heal ability, and he's got the defense dice as well, which is nice. But I think this is this is really good. So his second ability then is Invisibility Clerk. When this character is targeted by an attack or would make a dodge roll, you may use this superpower. This target uses its Mystic Defense to defend or dodge. During this defense or dodge roll, this character adds blanks to its total successes. So it costs 2. So it's costing the same amount as Ebony Maw's ability. It's costing the same amount as Magneto's ability. And then the same as the kind of other characters that have the reverse, don't the people like Mysterio. Yeah. But they have 5 and 6 Mystic Defense. Hood has 3.
Yeah, I mean, he has the added benefit of counting blanks, which is nice. I think there's 2 blanks on each die. Yeah, there is, right? Yeah,
two blanks, 2 hits, and then 1 of everything else, isn't it?
Yeah, so that puts you up to 5 out of 8 chances of getting blocked, which means, you're getting extra die and your dice are more valuable. It's not bad. I'm not really sure it's comparable to the others, simply because they have far greater spike potential.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't hate it. It's also nice being able to get blanks on a dodge roll.
Yeah, I think if it wasn't the blanks, I would say it was absolutely pants.
Yeah.
But I think with the blanks as well, It's okay. I'd have just liked to have seen him have maybe one extra mystic, maybe a 4. Feels
Yeah, maybe
like it would have been a
4.
bit more value for money.
Yeah, I think maybe even if you just like raised his defenses across the board and gave him that superpower to make him count blanks, I don't think that would be terrible. It'd make him better, like at all times.
Yeah, we have to remember as well. It is dodge as well, which not every some of the other characters don't get that, do they? When you're counting blanks and things, so that is I think somewhat unique. I can't think of any other character that gets to add. There probably is characters that include blanks in their dodge rolls, but you look at things like martial artists and things, it doesn't include dodge rolls, does it?
I can't think of one counting blanks, but Mysterio does get to use his Mystic Defense,
He
which
does
is
get
nice.
to use, and obviously Magneto can use his
Yeah.
projection thing. I forget the name of it. Paid hundreds of games for Magneto and still forget the name of it.
Force
projection.
something like
There
that.
we go. So yeah, 2 power. It seems okay. It's all right. And then his last ability then, so his innate ability is possessed by Nisanti. When this character is damaged by an enemy effect, after the effect is resolved, this character may transform into Hood possessed. If this character would be dazed before being dazed, it transforms into Hood possessed, then it is dazed. So basically, if you're going to take 2 damage and still live, you're going to transform into the Hood. And then if you're dazed by the attack, you'll still transform before you daze. So either way, you are transforming. If you're dazed, you have to. If you are damaged, you get the choice whether or not you want to transform. Now we can't really say much about that because we haven't looked at his other cards yet. But what we will do beforehand is just tell everyone that there is no change whatsoever to his injured side.
Not
Hood
even
normal.
like a change in the art, which I'm very disappointed
Not
by.
even a change in very, very lazy from AMG on this one. I think it is. Like, why does he not get an injured side? That just seems...
I mean, because he's garbage rich.
We don't know that yet.
Well, no, we don't know that. And also, I don't even know if that's actually my opinion, but it was funny, so I said it.
Excellent. So then, let's take a look at the possessed side. And I will say, Quinn, we haven't got these up yet, but the miniatures for his possessed side is awesome, right? It's really, really good.
Yeah, I like how he magically changes clothes whilst doing that, and like his little demon form gets a fun little waistcoat.
It does, yeah, it's quite cool. So he is still 5 stamina. Again, 10 stamina for 3 threat is not the best. Medium move. He is size 2 still, and he obviously still is threat 3. And then he still keeps his 2/2/3 defenses. Let's start then with his builder, which changes from a mystic to a physical attack, and it is range 2, 6 strength, 0 cost. And then after this attack is resolved, this character gains power equal to the damage dealt. He will do a bleed on a wild, and it says after this attack is resolved, if the target character was dazed or KO'd by the attack, this character transforms into Hood normal. It's a pretty good builder on a threat 3 character.
Yeah, I mean, like that's the thing about this sort of side of the card is it's kind of a threat 3, but also kind of not a threat 3 because you do have to jump through some hoops to get to it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not just like Ant-Man, is it, where you pay a power and change from one to the other. There's you've got to take some damage first for it to even kick in.
Yeah.
But I think a 6 strength builder on a size 3, they are usually reserved for 4, 5, sometimes 6 threat characters, aren't they? So I think it's pretty decent, and I think the bleed is quite nice as well. His second builder then is the empowered Dark Lightning. So range 3, this time strength 8, costing 4 power, and it has the trigger on a wild called Empowered Arc. After this attack is resolved, choose a number of other enemy characters within range 3 of a target equal to or less than the number of wilds in the attack roll. The chosen characters suffer 2 damage this time. And once again, that works in exactly the same way. So you roll 3 wilds, you get to target 3 characters in range 3. After this attack is resolved, the target character gains shock. And then after this attack is resolved, this character transforms into HUD normal. Quinn, I quite like this. I think we're paying, 1 power for 2 dice, which feels quite good. And
1
then
power for 2 dice and an increase to the damage on the arcing.
Yeah, I was just going to say plus 1 extra on the arcing damage. This feels like a pretty good spender for, again, a kind of range threat. Sorry, this feels like a pretty good spender for, again, a kind of threat 3 character.
Yeah, it's really good. A lot of the time, you're going to have the power to use it as well, simply because you have to be damaged to become this version.
Yes, yeah, actually, yeah, I didn't think about that, but yeah, you're absolutely right. So yeah, he's going to have some power in there, isn't he? So it may be that you can do a raise of talons first, and then follow up with a empowered dark lightning, and he's probably going to have enough power to definitely do it. So yeah, it's quite good. He has charge, which is nice. Standard charge. It's an action, move followed by an attack. Not much more to say about that. Doesn't state the attack, so you could pay 6 power in total and then do the charge and the empowered dark lightning as well. And then his innate ability of demonic resilience. When this character would suffer damage from an enemy effect, reduce the amount suffered by 2 to a minimum of 1. And this is, I think, the first time, Quinn, that we've ever seen a character that can reduce damage by 2 before.
Yeah, I believe so. I'm like going through the encyclopedia in my head. I'm struggling to come up with anything that does the same.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it is. It is unique. It's still to 1, so it's you are going to still take damage if it's more than if you're reducing it by the 2. And it is only enemy effects, as these usually are, so it's not going to negate, not that it would do because of the minimum of 1, but bleed or anything like that. I mean, yeah, it's okay. I mean, I suppose what it does do is gives him a little bit more survivability. But
yeah, it gives him a relative, sort of cushion to hide behind, but he's still only got 5 stamina. He's going to have less than 5 stamina if he's in that form because he's taking damage to get into it. Like, there are a bunch of factors that make this not as good as it seems on paper, even though it is still good.
Yeah, no, I agree. I actually prefer the defensive ability on his normal side than this one, I think.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Because
you've got a reasonable chance to negate all of the damage, I think, realistically with obviously depending, a 9 dice attack coming in from a Jean Grey or something, you're going to take some damage, but yeah. His last one then is Mystic Vulnerability. While defending against a Mystic attack, this character does not add additional dice to its defense roll as a result of crit results. If this character is damaged by a Mystic attack, after the attack is resolved, it transforms into HUD normal. If this character would be dazed by a Mystic attack, before being dazed, it transforms into HUD normal, then is dazed. Yeah, it's weird. So he's vulnerable to Mystic on one side, and then he can use the Mystic on the other side. I don't know too much about the character from the comic books. It's not one that I'm particularly up on, but I gather this is something that the possessed HUD is vulnerable to, and that's a good representation of him.
Yeah, I guess it's some sort of thing of, him not being from the same dimension, so it's easier to shoo him away or something like that.
Shoo him? Did you just say shoo him away?
Yeah,
just
shoo. Go away.
Shoo.
Bad demon.
Shoo HUD. Yeah, it does feel like that you're going to take some damage, you're going to transform into the HUD, and then you're going to do a big attack and then transform back. Because the moment you do an attack, you're going to transform anyway. I can't really imagine being on your damage side and not damage side, on your possessed side, and not activating the character to go next to then make the most of like the Dark Lightning or the Razor Talons or something like that.
Yeah, unless you really wanted to get like a heal out there and you were confident that you wouldn't die, which I wouldn't be
I would
with this
never be
character.
confident I wasn't going to die. Yeah, absolutely. Especially not on his possessed side when so vulnerable to throws, any sort of any sort of energy or physical attack. Just doesn't scream greatness to me. I'm a little bit disappointed if I'm being brutally honest. I remember watching one of the live streams and I can't remember who it was talking about the hood and saying how he will synergize so well with Dormammu, and yet the only thing I can see him synergizing in is his black arts ability on his normal side. Like,
Yeah,
that's literally the only thing I see that is synergy, and I don't really think a 3-threat character for a heal is synergy enough to make
I
me want
mean,
to
you
even
know,
take him.
a two-threat character for a heal isn't usually seen as good enough in the form of Wong,
No.
so I don't think bringing it up a threat really does that. I did just check just the wording on when he triggers being flipped, and even that doesn't synergize with Dormammu because it's enemy effect.
Yes, yeah, it's all enemy effects. Yeah, it's all enemy effects. So there's nothing there. I mean, I think the only thing is on his possessed by Nisanti, there is a full stop after the damaged part. So when this character is damaged by an enemy effect, after the effect is resolved, this character may transform into Hood. Full stop. If this character would be dazed, before being dazed, it transforms into the Hood possessed, then is dazed. So if he came into the power phase with 1 health left and more than 6 power, he would take a damage, daze himself, and then transform. I believe, because there is no
Yeah,
enemy part of that. But even still,
you're losing a character for a turn in a
yeah,
squad that is usually going to be down on characters.
yeah, I just don't see him fitting very well at all. He's no Mordo. That's all I'll say. From a support perspective, and again, we spoke quite a bit now, Quinn, haven't we, about characters falling into one of 3 main categories. They are either they're either damage dealers, they are either support characters, or they are control characters. And you would say that he is a damage dealer, really?
He fits into damage and support, and also really he's so bad at control that he goes in the other direction and makes it easy for the opponent to control him.
Yeah,
With the fact that you can make him transform when he's in the possessed mode.
yeah. No, and I think that's part of it that I don't like. And I gather that again without knowing much about the character. I'm not sure how it translates from the comic books, but overall, not a big fan of this one. We may be proven wrong, as as we most definitely often are, Quinn.
Whoa, who's this we?
You definitely get proven wrong. We all know how tanky Cassandra Nova is. But I just right now, I'm just not seeing it. There some of the guys out there that min max these rosters, and Pat and a few of the other guys may be seeing something in this that we're not. But yeah, a little underwhelming. He's got some good attacks on his flipped side. I keep saying flipped, but he's not. He's flipped on his possessed side. But other than that, Black Arts is really good. I think Black Arts, let's not kid ourselves. Black Arts is a very, very good superpower on a threat 3 character. I just don't know if his other attacks are good enough mixed in with his defenses to give him the survivability to really warrant putting him in a roster.
Yeah.
So yeah, unfortunately, guys, quite often we'll say, we'll look at these cards and we'll say, yeah, they look really strong and really good and other such things. So we did get his tactics card spoiled as well, and we'll go into these in more detail on Sunday probably. But he does have his own card called Hood's Gang. Now, once again, that Hood's Gang terminology makes me feel like he's going to be in the criminal syndicate. It just, I think he almost has to be. But it says Hood normal may play this card during his activation. This round, when an allied character is attacking an enemy character contesting or holding an objective token, the allied character may reroll. I think that says all of its attack dice. It could be 2 of its attack dice. I'm not entirely sure. But whether it's all, whether it's 2, it's not a great tactics card, is it, Quinn?
No. It's one of those things where you have 5 slots in your squad for tactics cards, and if you're investing one of those in rerolls for a round for Hood, it's like, do I really want that? Do I really need it? Probably not. There are plenty of other choices that are likely better.
Especially when the card that you want the rerolls on, or the attack you want the rerolls on, is probably that empowered lightning attack to try and get the wilds, which you can't do because now technically you could actually still get that off, right? Because
if someone does like a booby trap style thing or Mysterio's whatever it's called, tricks and traps. Yeah. Where, you move to a place and then they do damage to you. That's an enemy effect. You then become the big guy. If you've already then played that card, then yeah, you can do it, but that's rather niche. And I think if you're really, investing in that as your plan for the turn, you're not going to have a great turn. Because if your opponent is, wily enough, they're just going to look at you and go, I think I'll pass then.
No, absolutely. Actually, just rereading that, Quinn, it says this round when an allied character is attacking an enemy character. So it does apply to... So let's hold up a second, guys. Breaking news. I'm sure many of the people have covered this. Let's reread this card, Quinn, because on a second reading, it actually just went from being really bad to potentially really good. So it says... Hood normal may play this card during his activation. This round, when
which is the entirety of the round, not just a turn, which is a character's activation.
This round, when an allied character is attacking an enemy character contesting or holding an objective token, the allied character may re-roll. Now, this is the bit I can't see. It's either a 2, a 3. I think it's a number, so it's either 2 or 3 of its attack dice. Either way, it doesn't cost a power to play the card, and 2 or 3 rerolls for your entire team. This has Criminal Syndicate written all over it, right? Potentially. But Dormammu doing attacks?
Yeah. I mean, that could say any, which would be really good. I'm not sure whether it will or not, but yeah.
It feels like it's a 3, to be brutally honest with you. But actually, so that card has just gone up in my estimations, actually. So it doesn't cost anything, and it's rerolls for everyone. Dormammu on... I'm just thinking sort of in my head, because Dormammu loves him some hammers, right? Dormammu empowered by Mordo attacking a character with a hammer and then getting that hammer off them and then just carrying on attacking other characters feels quite good.
Yeah.
So actually, maybe he is better than we gave him credit for.
There's some reduced flexibility in the fact that you have to do it when he activates. So you can't just start your turn off by playing that card and then going immediately with Dormammu.
No, absolutely. But, if you've got damaged characters, that sort of thing, you may want to activate him first anyway to dump some of that power and, heal up some of your allies anyway. So I don't think it's too bad. But, on a, maybe on a Criminal Syndicate list where you're going wider, or, probably not Sam spam, because you're probably not going to put him in a Sam spam list, but a sin spam potentially.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, Hood is vaguely bad, which means he might be
He's probably going
Cabal.
to be in Cabal.
That's the criteria.
Did you once do a bad thing? Yes. Welcome to Cabal. So that card is actually, I'm going to say, significantly better than what I thought. I thought that was him, but any allied character for all of their attacks for the entire turn. For the entire round, more importantly. So I think that's quite good, actually. Quinn, do you want to take a quick 5 minutes to go through these other two cards whilst we've got them up on screen? It seems a shame not to.
I mean, yeah, why not? And then, I mean, if you want to, we can go through the other two ones that were spoiled.
I haven't seen them. Ooh, even better.
Yeah.
So then the second one, and this is I believe, fifth if we include the leadership card that we've seen from the Convocation, which is the plane of Poldark, I want to say.
Yeah, isn't that like
pronunciation.
that TV show about sexy pirate men or something?
I think it may have been, yeah. So it's obviously Convocation, it's active, and it says any Convocation character may spend 3 power to play this card. Choose an enemy character. Allied characters may re-roll any number of attack dice when making mystic attacks that target the chosen character this round.
It's basically Dark Reign.
Yes. Yeah, which isn't very... Well, it is potentially good if you want to take down a certain target. And the target, obviously, in my head is a Dormammu, a big threat character.
Yeah, or just anyone that's holding a really important objective. There are a few differences to Dark Reign that this has. Namely being that rather than, it only affecting affiliated characters, like Dark Reign does because it specifies Cabal characters, it's allied characters, but it specifies a type of attack, so you gain some flexibility, but also lose some flexibility in the same breath.
But I think if you're taking Convocation, it's mystic attacks, right? That's what your team is going to be built around. So far, I think every character we've seen, the card, all their builders and all their spenders have been mystics. I want to say, without exception, I believe.
Yeah, fairly certain.
I think they have, yeah. So I don't mind it. I don't know if it's going to make one of my 8 cards I'm taking, especially if I'm taking Convocation, theoretically it's one of 7 tactics cards because one of your tactics card slots is probably going to be taken up with the leadership card. So we'll have to see what the other ones look like, but on first glance, it doesn't feel like it's a card that is going to make the cut for those guys, I don't think.
Yeah. Actually, on the subject of Convocation, I don't know whether you've actually mentioned that we now know what the other side of that leadership does.
Do know what the other side of this leadership does, don't we? Do you want to tell everyone at home, Quinn?
But effectively, what it does is once per turn, when an allied character is damaged by an attack, it can be placed within 1 of its current position.
So I knew that it was a bump in the night-esque type thing. I didn't know the exact around it, but I really like that. I think it makes your opponent have to think a lot more about where they're positioning. Typically characters will stay as far away as possible, but within the range that they have to be to do what they want to do. Is typically what people go for. I think it forces characters to get closer to you than they were previously. And it also helps as well thinking about the ancient one where she's got the martial artist and that kind of thing, where she can spend power normally to advance.
She spends 3 power to pull someone short towards her, she drags them in like that, and then
So she can drag them in and move. Because is it in any direction they can move? They can
I believe
themselves?
the placement will be any direction. Yeah.
Typically placements are, aren't they? So, yeah, it really does make your character have to think long and hard about what they're doing with you. because I think it's a counter to a lot of pulls and things out there, really, isn't it? You know, Venom pulling you into attacking you, pulling you in medium, attacking you once, you can then potentially move out of the way of his next attack. But yeah, I do like that. Seance then, which is the Brother Voodoo, because obviously Hood comes with Brother Voodoo. I always call him Brother Voodoo. He is Dr. Voodoo in this game. I know him as Brother Voodoo from the comic books. But so Seance, Dr. Voodoo may play this card. While Dr. Voodoo has his Brother Daniel token, add 2 additional dice instead of 1 to his attack, defense, and dodge rolls when adding dice for each crit result this round. While another character has his Brother Daniel token, that character does not add dice to its attack, defense, or dodge rolls when adding dice for crits this round. You're the Dr. Voodoo fan because you like him in your Midnight Suns.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan. I don't know if I'm spending a tactics card slot on this as opposed to something else.
I mean, you know, this is semi-competing for Midnight Suns forever. Well, it's not, because you always take that card. But it's competing for things like Heroes for Hire, because it's a character-specific card, you know. And just, like, it's nice. I'm not super fond of it relying entirely on crits. You know, it's a 1 in 8 chance per die. You know, if you've got... I think the best use of this card is if you're just holding the token on Voodoo himself, which is what I've tended to do in my games with him, and just sort of never really bothered with the possession unless it was, you know, really vital at that point.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, it's nice. It's just... I mean, you'll have certain turns where you'll play this card and it will be absolutely insane. You'll roll, like, crit after crit after crit. And you'll have other turns where it just won't do anything, and it'll be a complete waste of, you know, a card in your 5. And I think with tactic cards, you kind of need to weigh that and then just sort of decide on the ones that you know are going to be good. Like, the worst thing a tactics card can do is just sit in your hand the entire game and do nothing, right?
Well, yeah, because it's you know, at that point you have to question why it's in your hand. If it's so situational that you don't use it for 2 or 3 games in a row, or indeed if it's for a specific character who you're not playing 2 or 3 games in a row, you then have to question whether or not both that character and or indeed that card should really be in your roster when, you know, could a Brace for Impact or a advanced R&D or a Bitter Rivals have given you more value for the same spot on your roster. So yeah, not a big fan. Situational, but I think Dr. Voodoo is a good enough character by himself to not be needing the a tactics card to boost him in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I think that's an accurate assessment. Like, he's a great all-rounder in terms of his kit. I don't think you need to tack on anything extra to make him better. No. Probably just devaluing him by over-investing in him at that point.
No, I agree. Okay, then, so let's take a look then at the 2 Midnight Suns cards that we had revealed. So the first one is called Banishment, and I'm looking at that, and I'm seeing, obviously, Dr. Voodoo. I'm seeing the immortal Iron Fist of Kunlun, Danny Rand, which is the only is his name. And is that
Danny
clear?
It is not clear. It is confirmed that is Elsa Bloodstone, who I don't know.
Oh, okay. Never heard of her. So maybe we'll do some research on her for the next video. So this is a Midnight Suns reactive tactics card, and it says, after an attack made by an allied Midnight Suns character is resolved, if the attack roll contained crit, wild, and hit, the allied character may spend 2 power to play this card. The target character and enemy characters within 2 of it gain the stun special condition. We just spoke about situational cards. And so it has to be a Midnight Suns character that makes the attack, and it has to contain a minimum of 1 crit, 1 wild, and 1 hit. You then have to spend 2.
2 power, which is a lot
And
considering the other prerequisites.
yeah, and then it's only enemy characters within range 2 and that character that gains stun.
It's the person you're punching and people within 2 of them.
Within 2 of them, yeah. Yeah. Don't really see this as being very good.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be passing on it in my Midnight Suns rosters, to say the least.
Yeah, not a fan of that.
I think if
Actually,
it was like
at all, really. I
an
can't.
either or of like, hit crit wild or spend 2. I don't think having both of them there, that feels
No.
very, very situation. Like, it's already a situational card, but that just really makes it super niche.
I also don't like stun either. I feel like for what you're paying, and when I say paying, I mean not just the power, but what you're having to achieve for it, to only give out stun. I think what it needs to be is either or if it's going to be both, make it range 3, and or make it stun plus something else, right? I want it to be a stun and a slow or something like that. But yeah, that doesn't feel.
Yeah, even if it were like an AoE hex, I'd have been happier.
Yeah, hex would have been good. Hex
would have been thematic as well,
Yeah, and
thing.
as we've discussed, in our opinion, a very very strong, special condition to be able to give out. But yeah, not a fan of that. Not a fan at all, if I'm being brutally honest. Let's have a look at the second one then, Quim, which
this is definitely my favourite of the 2.
Bat the Ghost Hound. So, is this, first of all, clarification that we're going to get a affiliation based around the Avengers hounds or pets or whatever you want to call it? I know there's
Avengers.
The Pet Avengers, yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, I will hope so.
And lastly, does it mean we're going to get Bats the Ghost Hound? Because I'd love that as well. I'm hoping so. But this is Midnight Suns reactive again. That's 2 reactive, which is interesting. But when an allied Midnight Suns character is modifying its attack or defense dice, it may spend 2 power to play this card. Change one of the allied character's attack or defense dice to any result. This effect may change. Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Failure results. So a couple of things to point out on this from a timing perspective. So it clearly states, doesn't it, when you are modifying your dice. So You've already rolled, you have already exploded your crits, and you've got to see all of yours and all of your opponent's defense dice. So everyone's complete rolls before modifications. And I think that's really important because that makes this considerably more powerful, doesn't it, with the errata on how rerolls and power for those work, I think.
What are you talking about? That's how it was always played, Rich.
Yes, nobody from AMG ever played it any other way on any live stream or any video ever. And changing failures is also very powerful because not only are you then bringing a dice back into play that would have otherwise, been a complete waste, you are potentially taking a damage away from a certain character as well.
And I mean, so it affects Dormammu negatively, which is always nice. I think the best use for this card is one of the best uses for this card is actually regarding someone in the card art.
Mr. Doctor Strange.
Yeah, good old Dr. Stephen Strange. Turning a die into any result. Turns out that's really good if you're fishing for a certain mystic binding trigger, with a hit crit and a wild.
Indeed, yes. Yeah. And I think anything, right? Anyone who's fishing for anything, it can be very, very useful. But in particular his mystic binding.
Also great for Moon Knight with his stagger trigger for his bow
Yep.
staff.
Yeah.
Also, technically, the rapid fire on him in case you really need that.
Yeah, if you miss it, yeah, it's really good. Limited to Midnight Suns, but I'm fine with that. It is a Midnight Suns tactics card. That's what it should be. But yeah, I can see this going into my Midnight Suns roster, and I can see it being a card that I play every game. Like,
Yeah,
absolute staple.
you're always going to have that moment where you either need to push one more damage through, or something like that, or you need a certain trigger. It's also very nice on Blade with his katana if you really want to push damage through.
Yeah.
Because you can change the result to a wild, which is effectively giving you 2 damage because it's another success and it's piercing as well.
Yep. No, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Anyone with Pierce or anything like that. But yeah, I do think you're right. I do think on Doctor Strange is where you're going to see it be extremely powerful. Now, interestingly, I'm just thinking when an allied character is modifying its attack or defense dice. So, do we think that this is going to be played before or after rerolls, or are we going to get a choice?
I would be inclined to say that it's your choice because you're still in the modified dice step after you reroll because you have to actually progress beyond that because you can stack multiple rerolls.
Yeah.
I don't see any reason why you can't reroll and then play this because you're still in that same step.
Yeah, it'd be interesting, and I will take a look on the forums and see if there has been a clarification on it. But yeah, I think that could be really powerful because, and the reason I asked that question, guys, is that if you're on Doctor Strange and you do your rerolls first, if you've got any, you may get what you need. And guess what? Save yourself 2 power and save yourself the tactics card for later in the game. So it'll be interesting to see whether you get the choice or not. But yeah, very 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 powerful card. I think it's. Tactics cards are always situational, right? Typically, especially a reactive card. But I think this is one that you're going to find a use for in almost every game you're playing. At least in my opinion, anyway. So yeah, cool, Quinn. That's quite a lot of stuff that we've gone through there.
It is.
Let's just quickly then go back to the HUD because that is what we started out with.
It is.
I think we are sharing our thoughts on him really in that he is, he needs more. He needed more defensively. I think is where he's really lacking to really stack up and gain a place in anyone's list. That tactics card does change my opinion a little bit of him. I think he will bring some great support to the team now, as well as having his black art. The fact that he can give everyone in his team rerolls may not be the best Dormammu play, but I think definitely in a potential Sin Spam or even in Criminal Syndicate, where you tend you can play wider, at least wider than what you would do in Dormammu. I think he could potentially see some play. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean, you'll see some play, just not by me.
Well, no, because we know that you're now exclusively going to be a Midnight Suns player, right?
Well, once I actually physically have them in my hand, yeah, that'll
is
be
the
the thing I
well.
play until the next new shiny thing comes along because I'm basically a magpie.
Absolutely. But guys, yeah, let us know. Let us know that in the comment section below. Have you played with him? Have you had any success with him? I don't know if he's over on TTS yet. I haven't even booted TTS up since getting back. I'll be taking him out for some test runs with Dormammu over the next week or so. So be sure to keep an eye out for those live battle reports that we've been doing. And yeah, as always, remember we've got our competitions running for the month of August. We're almost at 800 subscribers now, I think, which is absolutely fantastic. We've got our Magneto painting competition. We've also got our tournament running on TTS that will be kicking off at the end of August. So you've got until the end of August to sign up for that. Again, you can find links down in the description below. And the prize for that will be a third place ticket for the Richmond Gaming team playing alongside Quinn and also Daz, the Wargaming Dad. That's going to be happening in November. So yeah, make sure you go down and check that one out as well. As always, it leaves me just enough time to say stay well, keep safe, and until next time, bye for now. Are you going to say bye?
I'll think about it. Yeah, sure, you deserve it. Bye.